Since 1964, the Sports Car Club of America's National Championship Runoffs has been the single most important amateur auto race in the nation. This weekend, almost 600 competitors will fight for a medal in what has been called the Olympics of auto racing. This is where professional racing careers are launched. This is where legacies are born. This is the SCCA National Championship Runoffs, presented by Garmin Verb. Mid-Ohio Sports Car Cars, the SCCA Championship Runoffs, presented by Garmin Verb. It just sounds right to say those two together. Indeed, we are back for this year at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for this amazing event, and it is time for us to call one of the more spectacular races that we think we're going to be part of here, Spec Racer Ford 3, the Gen 3 version of SRF. And for Dorsey and I, it's kind of a bittersweet moment, I think, because this is the last race we'll be calling here in the booth. But the sweet part has been, it has been a phenomenal week that we have been able to observe, be a part of on so many levels, and we have called so many absolutely amazing races here, Dorsey, and this one, I think, should live up to the bill.
Oh, yes, it will. No doubt about it. Third generation Spec Racer Ford. Well, we got 41 of them. That's pretty amazing in its own right. This is a real race car now, where they started out as Sports Renault, which I drove and won the championship pro level years and years back in 85, 86. These cars now, with the new engine package, are of a real race car. And but when you look at the names on the list of guys in this, it's our same guys, the same guys that have run Gen 1, Gen 2, and now Gen 3. John Black on the pole, Mike Miserandino, we saw him the other day in the Spec Racer 2. A lot of guys in here, Bobby Sack, Scott Reddick, I'm sorry. Bunch of guys that have been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, this is a class that attracts the drivers. They just love getting in here because it's a spec class. If you do well, that's on you. If you do poorly, that's on you. And it is a class that really
and it's a scrum.
Oh, and it is. You're absolutely right. It is an absolute battle extraordinaire. And just to make a point here, I want to call somebody out in a good way, because there is a guy that won 4 national championships back in the SR, Spec Racer, Spec Renault days, then won 3 in the Shelby Can-Am in the short 6-7 years that ran national championships. And it's a guy who has really been absolutely a standout in spec, sports racers, spec categories, and he's the guy that has worked on, tested, and developed this new Gen 3 package, and his name's Mike Davies, and he has been instrumental in getting this class up to this to this point now where it is now a national championship class. And as you said, Doris, 41 entries. And Mike Davies, huge shout out to you, my friend. You've been absolutely superb. Now, as we let you enjoy our Garmin Verb lap of Mid-Ohio for Spec Racer Ford 3, it's with the gentleman who's a 4-time champ in Spec Racer Ford, qualified third today, Mike Miserandino.
You can listen from the engine sound alone and tell this is not Spec Racer 2 or 1.
Exactly.
This has got some horsepower as we come through turn 1. A lot of speed running up the second longest straightaway here, headed toward the keyhole. We do not use the chicane this year. The keyhole, a 180 right-hand corner, but it goes downhill all the way and falls off camber. There's pavement changes right about here. You see them all. Power down here is very, very important because it leads to the longest straightaway. All the way down this straightaway, you gather momentum and you get into the brake zone for turn 4, the best passing place. Also, the checkered flag, the start flag is right there. That Honda bridge is where we'll get the green. This is turn 4 up ahead. You see the brake markers, 4, 3, 2, 1, whistling through there. Leading into a series of corners called Madness, and it's self-explanatory. You come up this hill, you fall over the top of the crest of this hill, lose grip, run down through the valley here. Off-cambered turn makes it really hard to get the car to grip. Then under the bridge, and you start to get light, and you land the car kind of sideways, break a diagonal, and this is what we call the jump turn. You lose grip. Listen, usually the engine will wind up pretty good there. You run up through Thunder Valley, and this is a blind left-hand corner up ahead, also off camber at the exit, making the car want to head out to that guardrail where the friendly corner workers will pull you out. This is the carousel, 180-degree right-hand corner. You really want to try to nail this corner because it leads to this left-hand flick and to the start-finish line where you will win the race if you're lucky.
I just found my head leaning left to right here with that onboard lap. That was great fun. Hayward Wagner's going to be in the pit lane once again for us in this one. And Hayward, this class, very new in terms of national championship status, but well subscribed.
Absolutely. Lots of guys changing over to the third-gen kit. What they're finding is that this engine package is weighted similar to the Generation 1 kit, which really returns the balance of the car and makes it more of a driver's car. It's easier on tires. It's easier to drive. One to watch, middle of the pack, look for Steve Introne. Steve has flagged 24 runoffs, including this one. This year he gets to race.
Out of Oxford, Connecticut, Steve is, a New England region in the Black Hog Brewery Night Owl SRF3. So we will keep an eye out for him as he starts in the 22nd spot. But talk about stacked. You look at the front of this grid, John Black, 3-time gold medalist. Better still, he has his eighth tire rack pole position in runoffs competition. And he's done them this and in GT type of machinery. GT3 he has won some championships. Mike Miserandino, 4-time gold. Brian Schofield, 2 gold. Cliff White, 3-time gold medalist. And listen to this. We had just the previous race a record broken that stood for a while. Graham Rahal is no longer the youngest ever winner in the runoffs. It's Neil Verhagen. Scott Redditch earlier in the week got his 8th straight Formula Enterprises pole, breaking a Jerry Hansen record that stood for 35 years. He went on to win it. He has already got his 6th gold in competition here, and Scott Redditch will start in the 8th spot here today behind Schofield, Acker, Miserandino, Byrne, and Black as we show you the starting grid across the top of the screen.
With the new engine package, these cars are no longer draft dependent like their predecessors that were so hugely underpowered that you really needed the draft. Well, these cars now with their new Series 3 engine have plenty of power.
Yeah.
And so not draft dependent, it makes the driving a little bit different still. The same thing that makes the Spec Racer 1-2 win races, which is smooth, consistent driving, keeping your momentum up, that holds true against any kind of race car there is. So that same driving style, of course, is why you see John Black on the pole. Mike Miserandino right up there in the front. Brian Schofield, Scott Reddick, all the guys that Cliff White. These are guys that have been in this series, this class, a long time.
I think the best way to describe it is now these cars are very lively.
They are.
It's really fun.
They sound like race cars. They accelerate now really hard. Got to drive one and test it, and Mike Davies did a tremendously good job.
Oh, hasn't he?
Developing this car for everybody. It's a great car.
Another guy to watch, just starting in the 8th spot, Todd Harris, number 24 out of Portland, Oregon. He won the gold in Spec Racer Ford earlier in the weekend. He's been chasing a gold at the runoffs for a long time, got it earlier, and he's going to see if he can double it up here and go after it as we are about to go green. 23 laps, Spec Racer Ford 3, SRF 3. In the front row, once that pace car cuts off into the access road, it's up to them to bring them to the green and do it clean.
And there's a bunch of them, boy.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian Schofield there in that sort of half white and black car, always impressive. And Todd Harris kind of fainting in a little bit.
Yeah,
he wants to start.
That.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and look, there's guys waving off up there. No start.
Waved them off.
They didn't like the exact thing you saw, Greg. 27 car off.
Oh, that's why ultimately. Oh, man, everything you've gone through to get here to the runoffs, and then you end up not even be able to get to the green. That's Colin Kaminsky out of Homer Glen, Illinois.
Those drivers,
tough. Young guy, 17 years old.
Trying to alert the people behind them that there is no start. You can't see past about the 5th or 6th row. You can't see past all those cars. So those guys throwing their hands up is very safe, and you'll see them do that anyway.
And it looks like maybe a stack up, right?
Oh man, boy. Stack up indeed.
Stack in the up.
Did the big wheelie right up in the air.
Yeah, well, he got through the bodywork onto those tires. So that's why. So, yeah, very, very good call here. And like you said, when you got a field this size that's that stacked, getting your hands up, letting the people know something's changed. Don't get overly aggressive here. It's a smart thing to do.
You had talked about back around 6th or 7th place, one of the cars that was peaking, if you want to call it peaking.
Yep.
He was not in line with the other cars. He was trying to sneak his way up to an inside move between the lines. That just messes everything up for everybody behind him. You know, that's what you don't want to see happen. It stacks people up because if you're in line with everybody, you're fine. But if somebody moves over, you can't see up through the middle anymore. He's blocked the view for everybody behind him to be able to see forward to where the green is. And as a result of that, it causes an issue.
It does indeed. And Still caution here, so it's going to take a little bit apparently to get that cleaned up. So this is we've had a few finish under caution. This is the first one we've had start under caution. And a couple other guys to keep an eye out for. Back in the 10th spot, Troy Ayers, who's always a front runner in this category, finished second at Daytona last year. Just didn't quite get the qualifying run he wanted in his number 7 Ayers Racing Machine out of Gainesville, Georgia. And qualifying one spot in front of him in the 9th spot is a name that will ring a bell, I'm sure, Dorsey. Number 19 out of Mattawan, Michigan, the Elite Autosport Revolution Racing entry. Bobby Sack, son of Don Sack.
Of course, Don Sack, Trans Am competitor.
Yes,
Bobby
indeed.
Sack's run some Trans Am just as well. I've been watching Bobby all year long as he's run that car to get qualified for the runoffs. Now, our starts are on the long straightaway. Restarts are on the front straightaway, and this is not a restart since we didn't get one yet.
Yeah, good point. Exactly. All right, here we go. Take 2. And the clock has started. The laps have counted,
yes.
So that's the important thing to keep in mind here. But hopefully we'll get a nice, clean run this time. A little bit of debris on the track, but it's off what'll be the line.
There in fourth row.
Yeah.
Still trying to feint to the inside.
All right, watch that start stand off to the right, and yellow again.
He wants to be the first one to the crash, I think.
I'm not sure what that was for.
Well, this now I tend to start to disagree with when you go past the first time not getting a green.
Yeah.
Because you're doing a couple things now. You're making the field very, very tense. You've just run off 2 laps and time both, so they're not going to get the allotted amount of time that they would normally get. I didn't see anything grossly out of place there. There was a couple guys peeking, like I say, which I think they just want to see the wreck first, because that's what they're going to get.
I wonder
debris that's from that first time around.
I wonder if it's the debris or if they still haven't gotten the 27 in a safe place, and that's why. Because I saw nothing wrong with the lineup on the start.
I didn't think it was anything bad there either, and that piece of debris's been there since the first lap when it got knocked off.
Yep.
So that's nothing new, and I think the car was in a safe place to begin with, where he pulled behind that barrier.
So he just had a quick
straightaway.
Just saw a quick look at that black with the yellow 7. That is Troy Ayers. And if they got whatever it was that had them back in the pack, and once again, you're talking about he had a bad qualifying run. He qualified at a 135 flat. Pole was a 134.3. So 7/10. Just in this class, that's can put you 10, 15 spots back.
You start not flagging big groups like this, and it's almost bound to cause a wreck at the start.
Yeah.
Because everybody is really, really tensed up now. Most of these guys have no idea why they didn't get a start.
Yep.
They didn't do anything wrong, and they probably couldn't see anybody that did either. So with the lack of communication, you really get tense now. If you're that front row, you're going, what's the deal? What do we got to do?
Yep. I think that's a very good point. Now, on the inside of the front row, you've got an incredibly experienced guy in John Black, and he's going to be the one bringing him to the line here.
And that part looked good. The first 3 rows in particular were perfectly, lined. There was a peak in the 4th row, but it wasn't blatant. It wasn't more than a headlight.
Yeah. But the interesting thing is the guy that's starting alongside of John is a Runoffs rookie. Never been to the Runoffs before, and so now he's got to be dealing with this. Now, that said, he had a couple of wins, a pole in his in majors competition this year. So Patrick Byrne, certainly an experienced driver on that level, but a young guy at 26, and he's up against one of the veterans, and he's surrounded by veterans on the front of that next few rows of this grid. So it'll be interesting to see how Patrick deals with this pressure.
Now it becomes a 21-lap race.
Yep.
And we've lost some percentage of 40 minutes as well.
All right, let's see if we can make it work here on our 3rd try. And again, field looking pretty good.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, John's doing a nice job of pacing him. And it wasn't the debris that was the issue, because it's still there.
Nothing about that.
So let's see what happens. We'll watch it from a different angle, see if that helps. And we are green. Now, let's watch it down into turn 4. And this is always aggressive anyway, and these cars can't get inside and do a little banging. And Miserandino right to the inside of Black. Oh,
and he's turned in front of the field. It's on.
Yep.
3 cars off, 2 cars off.
Trapped Reddick right in there, so that's a tough deal for both of these multiple champions here. Black will lead away, and it looks like
that's... And a big garage move. What is it called? A wreck.
I think you were... You were going for carambolage.
Yeah, that was it. I locked up.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, well, it was big. You're absolutely right. It was a grand carambolage. up at the top. Wow. Well, and Dorsey, you called it. You said
it was bound to happen.
You do that, everybody just gets wound up. So Black leads the way. I think that's Schofield, and I wouldn't be surprised again. Pretty savvy, was able to maybe sneak through the melee here. And, yep, that's Schofield. Right up on him is Cliff White, so great experience here. And Miserandino, he's got to be miserable right now after being taken out and qualifying so well. But now the racing is on.
Most of those cars should be able to continue on. There will be some debris unless the corner workers can scamper around and get it right quickly. But the cars themselves weren't hurt badly enough, I don't think, that they can't get back going.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Bobby Sack had a tremendous start. Remember I mentioned he started 9th. He's 4th.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Avoiding all of that.
He's got some pro experience under his belt. He loves running this car.
Oh, Schofield way wide, and here comes Cliff White.
Watch everybody freight train him on the outside now.
Yeah, Cliff White, that purple machine, down to the inside. He's going to be clear through, you'd think. Yep.
Well,
now,
he was lucky to.
He sure was. And now big move by Sack, but he realizes that's not going to work. And there's Ayers, who was able to take advantage of everything that happened. And from his 10th qualifying spot, he's going to be up in, I think, to the top 6.
One car stayed up there on top of the hill. They're deeming it okay for right now. Yeah. One thing about it, if you pop to make a pass and you don't make that pass, you better get back in line as soon as you know you're not going to make it. Because all these guys will be, they'll trap you. Now, finally, they're starting to get some tire pressure and tire temperature and get just a rhythm, just get a feel for the car that they never got.
Trying to take
John
a look
Black
here.
And Schofield try to check out with a 2-car draft.
Yeah.
I don't know that they can do that, but they've got a little bit of a gap back to 3rd place, Cliff White.
And here we go. Onto the front straight. There's a look at Bobby Sack in the Revolution 10 machine.
Cliff White, Sack, they need to work together because the front two are starting to do it.
And, that move. White now up into 2nd. Schofield 3rd. Sack. Torty Acker sits in that 5th spot, the number 62. Then the 31 of Robeson Russelli. And Robeson Russell. And it's an interesting story. He thought he was going to be in with a good shot at it at the runoffs last year, and he ended up 29th. And so he came back here in that number 31 out of Spartanburg, South Carolina, the Comp Print Angry Llama Racing. It's one of the reasons I wanted to mention. That's a great name for a race team.
This is textbook. You don't get much better than that. That's black and white.
You are right. But you had to do it. But you're right. That is how you want to race these cars. Work together. Don't get into scraps like this.
Absolutely not. Those two working really well together are going to try to, pull a 2-car train in front of these guys. Like I was saying that before, Brian Schofield, Bobby Sack, and Torty Acker, they also need to do something. Now, there's more involved than that now because there's about 5 or 6 cars back there.
Yeah, but you saw, Bobby Sack trying to make a pass, and right now, if you want any shot at the gold in this one, you've got to get back to these 2 guys. And you don't do it running side by side. And it's interesting because, last year, obviously Daytona, a lot more draft imperative there. But Troy Ayers and Kerry Jacobson did exactly what our lead 2 now, black and white, I'm going to use that, are doing, is that they just, throughout the week, they worked together
62.
and they drove away.
62 car got tripped up there a little bit, got sideways, and that's Torty Acker. He got on the curb and twisted the car.
Schofield leading Bobby Sack.
They got to tidy that up.
Yeah, they do.
They better tidy that up right now because look at these 2 run away.
Yep. In the margin now, between John Black and Cliff White, it's not anything. But between White and Schofield, 2nd to 3rd, it's already 2 seconds.
That new engine change tuned these cars out. Make no mistake about it. These are real race cars in this format. They're no longer just a drafting exercise. It's a race car.
You see a car that's sitting back there in about 9th spot, and it's carrying the colors of the Italian flag, and it should. The name of that driver is Umberto Melletti. He's doing a nice job right up there. And this time Bobby Sack goes around the outside of Schofield.
That offending truck that I don't like seeing out there. 2 of them.
2 of them, a wrecker.
As I say that it's not as much of a drafting class, it doesn't mean it doesn't work, as you can see up front.
Yep.
I mean, John Black, Cliff White, definitely working as a duo, and they're tidy, they're clean. Now these guys are starting to run them in a little bit. But like I say, you got to quit making mistakes. you definitely got to keep the car going forward.
These cars, I mean, the power plants still have a lot of spunk to them, but the car, relative to the other car, it's still the same spec.
Right.
So if you work together,
these are
it's
still
going
a
to
spec
show.
car
Yeah.
on spec tires, on spec engine, etc. It just has a lot more power now.
And another guy who's doing, I was just going to have a look right here at the 39 of Jeff Beck. I looked down and realized he was in the top 10. This guy, it does this at will, it seems. He qualified back in 18th and is now up into 10th. I called a runoffs race for Spec Racer at Road Atlanta back in the day where I think he had qualified 22nd and he podiumed. Jeff Beck is a pass master in that black car.
Jeff Beck's been around a long time.
Boy, he is good.
He's been in this class a long time, but he's been around racing, SCCA racing, for a great deal.
And because, yeah, exactly. And because we've already used up a couple of bad puns, I'm going to lay off. He's also a mean guitar player.
I was going there if you didn't, though, so might as well.
Oh, boy, look at this lead. These front two, yeah. Now, yep.
And these guys are still cutting and thrusting back here, and that's why if they just tidy up 2 or 3 of them, if they just get some hand signals going and quit doing all this looking to the inside, looking to the outside stuff, otherwise you're going to be running for second, third place.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that Schofield is not just right there, stick and put. He's won a couple of gold medals in this class. He knows how crucial that is. Ooh, Bobby a little wide there, but that was actually a pretty quick run through there, wasn't it?
Little tire squeal, not too bad, but boy, those 2 in front are just clean. Cliff White, Bobby, or John Black up there, just every lap gaining a little more momentum, a little bit more ground on these guys.
And then Troy Ayers right there, that black number 7, up into that top 6.
Bobby Sack just is stuck by himself up there. He's got the right momentum to go up front, but nobody's helping him. And he doesn't want this whole freight train catching him either, for that matter.
Yeah, that gray car is the 31 of Robeson Russell sitting in the 7th spot. And here comes Umberto looking at the outside there. And by the time he decided that wasn't going to work, Todd Harris just went right up the inside of him.
All of that is killing their effort.
Yep.
All of that just looking around and popping out, and that's just slowing that whole freight train down.
You can see it, but there's so much of that going on behind that Bobby is just driving away from him. Yeah.
Bobby Sack by himself is faster than that train.
Yep.
And the 2 guys up front obviously are just sneaking away.
Yeah, it's almost
now
like
he's got 3.
Yep.
If Bobby could get those 2 guys right there behind him to tidy it up, they could start to get a run going. But unfortunately, they're, as you see right there, they're just popping out, looking, and they're not being meticulous by any means.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that Schofield isn't just right glued up underneath there and just saying, let's go, let's get up to the front here. Schofield is awfully experienced in these cars. And you keep seeing him show the nose on the run down that straight. So unless is it possible he's having some sort of overheating issue and he needs to get a little bit of air in there?
Well, it's a cool day, but that's not to say that that's not a factor, because these are bigger engines and they do require more air to cool them.
Meanwhile, John Black, great run. Cliff White so far is the fast lap of the race at a 35.304. John Black just turned to 35.340. And watching him as he leads Cliff, and again in the back there, that's the number 62, Authority Acker.
Just keep every corner he's popping out to try to do something, and they just get aerodynamically dirty by that. To some degree, speaking of that, I am surprised at how many of these cameras guys got up on the top of roll bars and things that are adding drag to the overall equation too, something you don't need. Probably not as sensitive in this car as it would be the Series 2, but boy, if it were me, I would be looking to clean that car up as much aero-wise as I could.
Ooh, Cliff gets through on John Black. Now, John, I mentioned that he's got a number of championships, 3 of them, only one here in 2003 in Spec Racer Ford. The others have come in GT3 competition, but he has accrued a number of poles in this class, or SRF, as well as in GT3. And Cliff White in Spec Racer Ford coming in here, Dorsey, he has won 3 of the last 4 championships in Spec Racer Ford. So this man understands how to make this work.
A couple of things about that position change. I mean, in the middle of the race somewhere, you need to. Oh, we've had another crash up here. 3 cars at least.
3, yeah.
Anyway, you know, he might be getting hot.
Yep.
Running behind. The 44 looks pretty badly torn out.
Well, and the 14, the whole back end is gone. This is going to be a caution for sure. That's Paul Marino.
That Paul Marino car is not. Going another spin here to the outside. That one with no contact yet. It would be nice if he stopped it anytime soon.
Here's our wreck.
Oh, that's a big hit. Yeah, he got pile drove into the, luckily, the tire barrier there. But it did take that left rear corner off of the 14.
Yeah, the 44's Dave Lancaster.
A lot of waving going on back here for some reason.
Well,
probably just to calm everybody down.
Yep. I mean, I don't see how we don't have a full course caution.
Now, there's 3 cars there,
yeah.
and one of them is not going to drive away for sure.
And there goes, I think.
Yeah.
We may have just gone full course caution, so that was inevitable. You had to.
Yeah, they don't have a choice on that. I'm surprised they don't even move faster with it than that, because
now, assuming they get this cleaned up quick enough, we're going to see if Bobby Sack can run with those 2 guys up front.
One thing about it, and I'll be honest with the stewards here, is that they don't have closed circuit TV, so they don't have the view that you and I have of this wreck. I mean, I can see this instantly. You know, the 44 is not going anywhere, 14 is not going anywhere. So we're going to have a flat wrecker. So I would have called that right away. But our chief steward and our stewards don't have the privilege of looking at what you and I are looking at.
Yep. I mean, this is club racing. It isn't, you have all the resource of a huge pro program. Real sad development here. Very talented 17-year-old in that 3rd car involved, who just got caught up in the melee. The number 35 of Max Grau out of Port Byron, Illinois, in the Elite Autosport entry. 17 years old, and that's up from my neck of the woods, where I used to spend a lot of time in what they call CENDIV, Central Division, in the Northern Conference. And everybody I've talked to has said this young guy has been impressive. It's very, very new to racing, but is doing a superb job, and he got caught up in that. And they were really saying, keep an eye on him. He's going to go somewhere. And not today, unfortunately, as he got gathered up in that incident.
Well, all the hard work for Cliff White and John Black goes away. But this does help Bobby Sack now. Because now he could tag to be the 3rd of that front group if he can stay there with them. That's a pretty formidable trio. No, 3 cars are very quick.
He was showing the speed to be able to do that, too, wasn't he?
Well, he didn't qualify well, so he wasn't with them initially, but he is with them now. And it's going to take him a couple laps to clean this mess up over here.
Now, right as that incident happened, you were about to talk about why Cliff White would have made that pass on Black.
A couple reasons there. You have to figure out at some point, where can I pass, or can I pass? And once I'm past, is my car fast enough to stay up front? Or am I better staying behind toward the last lap? You're kind of addressing that situation. Also, we could have a situation that they ran like that for so long that the second place car was getting hot.
Yep.
Because you're tucked up underneath there, you're not getting a lot of air to your radiator. And I saw one of those 2 cars, the bottom pan for the radiator inlet's pushed up already a little bit. And that's something that those cars, kind of a weak spot on the car. And if you go off the road at all, or if you hit a curb, it can bend that pan, and it bends up into a little V. But it shuts off your radiator inlet by about 20%.
Well, and I mean, these cars with these new power plants, I think cooling is even more important because they're making more power, obviously.
Yeah, they definitely have a higher capacity for cooling.
And in this race last year at Daytona, Troy Ayers teamed up with the eventual winner, Terry Jacobson. He said, I didn't want to be leading. He said, but my car overheated, and I had to go out and go around him for a little bit. And then he got passed right at the end.
And you're assessing that stuff. You're trying to figure out, if you're overheating out, you got to pop out and get by, or you have to start moving out. On the other hand, like I say, some cars will follow better than they can lead. And if you're not able to lead, the worst thing you want to do is be in the lead at the last lap.
Exactly. Well, and, obviously, if the car overheats enough, immediately because you start to lose power, don't you? Yeah,
you'll lose power, too. And, you got to keep the eye on the gauge because these cars stay underneath each other so often.
Yeah. Boy, and I'll tell you, the Scott Reddick was involved in, he got kind of caught up in one of the earlier instances, not this last one that brought out this yellow and dropped way down the order. He's sitting right now in 14th. He's got a lot of work to do, but he's certainly capable of it. And Doris, let's go back and take a look at the original, the start that actually went green here, down to 1. Yeah.
Oh, and the top 3 just bounced off each other right there. The 11 being in the middle got into the 8.
And there's Reddick, so that's what cost him all that ground.
They actually all 3 hit. Car in the center becomes the ping pong ball. Then the big wreck on top of the hill takes 3 more off.
Yeah, it was an interesting start here. And, I mean, Miserandino, obviously, in the 0-2, that was your front, second and third on the grid, both got pretty much eliminated.
Miserandino was the ping pong ball, and he bounced off both cars on the outside of him. First the one, then that shot him into the other. And those cars, of course, went off. Yeah. Drivers left into the grass.
And pole sitter John Black was lucky to come away from that pretty unscathed, wasn't he?
Yeah, all he did was get a side hit. And these cars are really strong on side-to-side hit.
Yep.
You can't hurt them very badly that way. It's more, they're vulnerable on their nose for sure. The tail's pretty strong, too. These cars are well-built.
Yeah.
Very, very well-built car.
Well, that was the whole idea when they came into existence back in 1985, was to have an entry-level sports racer that was very relative in terms of racing terms, because racing is, it's an expensive sport. You're dealing with cars, but relatively inexpensive, not just to purchase, which they were, but to run. And you could run a season on these, and if you took a couple of hits, it's not like you were suddenly had to invest in $10,000 worth of parts.
Right.
They take it and keep on running.
I mean, they're low-tech, they're fiberglass pieces, so you can fix a fiberglass car pretty easily. If you hit side to side, the right underneath the body is 1-inch square steel, and it's not. It takes a heck of a hit before it's triangulated, and there's a rectangular structure off to each door, if you want to call them doors, and those are very, very, very sturdy.
Well, and when the Gen 3 concept was brought up, and up to a couple of years ago, I don't know what the current count is, because a lot of these Gen 3 cars obviously were conversions, but there were almost 1,000 Spec Racer Fords in existence racing around the country.
Just the other day when we had Gen 2, my car, I had the Gen 1, my car was chassis number 35, and that car partook in this race the other day. So my chassis number 35 was racing still. Some 1984, that was from then. That car's still running.
That gives you an idea of just the ability of these cars to exist. I think Cliff had to go to the front, because you look at that inlet, there's a little bend on the bottom.
I noticed it earlier too, that it was shut down a little bit. Anything can do that. You get off the road just like at the beginning there.
Yep.
And just the tall grass can bend that. It's pretty weak there. There's a little flimsy aluminum tube that supports it to the nose pin, but it doesn't take much of a shot to bend that.
No, the thing is, you can't just, we're going to put a couple of pieces of metal in there, because that's not part of the spec.
Right, it's a spec piece. Yeah. That under tray is a spec piece. And they've been the same from day one.
Can't hang your little fishing weight plumb bobs in there either.
I was surprised to see that, though. I thought we were the only ones that ever did it.
Maybe they saw you.
They could have.
Yeah, maybe that's where
we
got
to
the
run
idea.
it like in 1 or 2 sessions before the tech guys said, "No, you can't do that."
Yeah.
Why?
Well, that would be my point. That's not a performance advantage.
Brilliant.
If anything, but it would allow you to keep running.
Absolutely would. It wiped all that grass off the grill. Bill Fingerlow came up with that idea. Bill Fingerlow, of course, longtime crew chief for Tom Loy and for myself. Suffered a stroke some years back and was unable to continue as a line mechanic. But being the mechanic by nature he is, he took his handicap and he designs and builds off-road wheelchairs for guys that like to go hunting. And he puts on handicap hunts every year.
Right? That's fantastic.
Yeah. Bill Fingerlow, he was quite the guy. And he loved hunting, loved shooting guns, and he was not willing to give that up even after the stroke. So he developed a buggy cart wheelchair.
I love stories like that. That level of inspirational creativity is pretty cool here. Now, we've got we hate to say it, but we've got a 40-minute time limit on this race, and we're at 26 and a half minutes in here. So hopefully we can get this cleaned up and get this back to green and give us a few laps. There's no way we're going to full distance here in terms of lap counts after the wave-offs and then the cautions and the like. So the interesting thing is going to be here, I mean, the guys that this caution may have helped a little bit that are back in the order, a smidge, they're not going to be able to really have enough time to do too much with it. I was thinking of Beck maybe and Harris, who slipped back to 8, Schofield. But for Bobby Sack, when we go green, Darcy, the the running together in a draft will be out the window. It's going to be attack. So, and while we're under caution and we see, I think hopefully that's the last car that's being cleaned up, let's check in with Hayward.
Guys, I happened to run across both of Bobby Sack's parents. His mom's over on the hill watching 4, 5, and 6. His dad's here on pit lane. I asked his mom if the restart was a good thing for him. She said, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. I asked Dad the same question. They're actually a little bit disappointed. They felt like they were in good, clean air and they could run a clean race where they were, but they are now complicating things a little bit. I did have to interrupt his dad, though. He was getting a good picture of his kid's name up on the telesign above the stadium.
And there is Don Sack, man.
Don
Great
and
guy.
Ran against each other for many years in Trans Am. You're right about one thing. He's a great guy. He flies his own airplane now. That's his new hobby. I think he's got a Cirrus. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, those were some great days. I mean, I remember when they came into Trans Am with their Revolution Motorsports team, back in the day when I was still calling Trans Am, that was some special stuff. You guys out on the track together and everything. Is great era, no question. And he really is enjoying watching Bobby run, and his daughter is doing some racing too.
I think for Bobby, this is a good thing, this restart, because first of all, he was mired pretty far back and didn't get a chance to run up front with these guys. Now he's there with them on this restart, and they might do a 3-car breakaway. I think he's faster than the 62 behind him. I saw the 62 making a lot of errors earlier. Tordiacker kept popping out and losing momentum, so we could see a 3-car breakaway here. We don't want to see another caution under yellow or finish under yellow. But you got to understand, I mean, when you're looking at flatbed tow trucks, there's probably 2 of them here. Well, there was 5 cars that were all in need of that 2 tow trucks at one point or another.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we had the cars that crashed up there in Madness, and then these 3 cars that took each other around. So
now the one thing you can do with these cars is you can hook a wrecker up to those roll bars
and lift the whole thing.
But the problem is if you've punctured a radiator, if you've got oil leakage or whatever,
you got to put a diaper on it so you don't oil the track down.
So
and then when you have a big wreck in these cars like we did at Road Atlanta, you got to figure out whose wheels belong to who and.
Yeah, exactly.
They all have the same size, but they're not the same colors and stuff.
Oh man!
I had a wreck in the bottom of the kink at Road Atlanta with 3 cars.
Oh, the dip there?
The dip.
Yeah.
And not one car had a wheel left on it. We ripped off
everything.
12 wheels and tires were bouncing around down the straightaway. We had to just bring it all to pit lane and stack it there and fight for it. Those cars were just junk.
Oh, man.
Mike Anderson, myself, I don't remember who the third one was, but I mean, it was the biggest wreck we ever had in sports Renault history.
But the thing was then if you'd won the previous race, you had the money in your pocket for all those repairs because they paid darn good in that Pro Series, didn't they?
Mike and I woke up in the Quack Shack. We didn't go to sleep there, but we woke up there.
That's what we're hearing on race control.
We still see each other every once in a while.
Wow.
Talk about that wreck. It's
all
one
right.
of, just like I said before, it's one that you knew was about to happen, and it did.
And it did. These drivers are getting real anxious here. I think we may be going back to green.
I think you're right. And
Pace
watch
car,
Bobby Sack. Sack has got to stay with these 2.
He's got to.
And we'll have a 3-car run to the finish if he does.
And he did. He rolled into the throttle right with that lead duo, as did the 62 at Tordiacker, and they've got a little break over Robeson Russell.
I think they'll shake Tordy. I think those 3 are really strong, competitive cars. All good drivers, known drivers.
And it's all a matter of who's got the cleanest tires right now and who kept them up to temp best.
Look at them. They're pretty tidy right there.
Yeah, they are.
Back further, though, we got the 34 working over the 24.
Yeah, it's Umberto working on Harris there. Robeson staying right with him, as is the 7 of Trey Ayers.
It takes several laps to make anything happen as these cars build up speed. Right now, everybody's good.
We've got 8.5 minutes left in this one, so at least 3 laps, I would think, if everything stays
so
clean.
That being said, Greg, you're right. You have to go to work right now. There's no strategy. You got to attack. 3 laps is well within
That's
the
exactly what John Black just did. Decisive move to get to the point.
Sack trying to inside here. That's not a good place to do that.
Trying to open up his run maybe a little bit, see if he can do something. We've seen drivers this weekend be able to make that pop move right here down into 9, but Sack lost a lot of ground that time, didn't he?
Yeah,
that hurt.
He's getting shaken free.
Yeah. And here we go, up into turn 11. Very
White, John
tricky
Black.
corner.
No strangers to doing this. They run against each other for years now. Sack coming back up. There's the 3-car breakaway I was talking about.
Yep.
Sack's got to tidy his lineup, get closer.
Yeah, he's tried to diamond that a little bit, get a little bit better run.
He needs to just stay right underneath those guys,
Yeah.
and whatever line they're running, run it too.
Exactly.
At least until he can get a momentum shot or some kind of way to get to the middle of that. Right now, he's too far back to do anything.
Yeah, imitation right now. Ooh,
One
Robeson
car.
goes way wide. That's going to cost him big time.
Well, good save. Everybody's going to go to the inside of him. You know they will.
Yeah, Ayers wants by. He thinks he's a little quicker right now.
He will get that position.
Yep. Now, and Ayers is a drafting master. If he could get up to the back of the 62 of Tordiacker, this could be a whole different ballgame. But because of that moment, you can see the inertial momentum was lost, and he's lost a lot of track position here.
Tordiacker, actually, I said he was going to get shaken free.
He's doing a nice job, isn't he?
He is actually doing a great job.
Oh.
Sack looking.
I think Cliff White's got an overheating problem. I think he didn't want to move out there. He had to, and he almost opened the door up for Bobby Sack.
Tordiacker being much more aggressive this time. So I take back what I said earlier.
Yeah. He's doing a great job, isn't he?
Yep. And he's being more aggressive than Bobby Sack is.
Yeah, very good point. He's working the
Tordy's
angles
trying
here.
to make something happen, you know.
Yeah. A lot of people know him by TJ Acker, by the way. If you're wondering who's Tordy, well, it's TJ. A lot of people know him by that in his 8th runoff. Bronze medalist, 3rd place a couple of times.
He's not afraid to try moves.
No.
You know, he's trying different things. Sack not got the pace, not just got the pace at the front too.
No, I think it takes a little longer, whatever setup he's running, just a smidge longer. There's not a lot you can change,
That's
but
a good point
minuscule
right there.
changes on the car, can affect whether it comes in right
Yep.
away or not.
No, you're absolutely right about that. Some of these cars get happy 4, 5, 6 laps, and then some of them are fast right off the get-go, like the front two, it looks like.
Yeah, well, and it was about 4 or 5 laps in when he started to, Sack did make a little break. Boy,
TJ,
he just
like I said, he's not afraid to make a move.
Oh, got in a little hot. Troy Ayers ducks underneath.
He's under him.
Problem is you run side by side, you're going to lose ground. And that's what I mean. Troy Ayers understands the momentum and draft of these cars. He realized this isn't going to work. I'll give the spot up to get tucked back in again. And now John Black has on the side of him is Cliff White.
Little wiggle on the braking list. Lets you know he's all the way as deep as you can go. I thought the 7 might have wrinkled his right front fender a little bit. That could have been just a optical delusion.
All right, what have we got for time here left in this?
Won't be much.
4.5 minutes,
Couple
so
laps.
3 laps maybe
3
if they get
laps,
around
maybe.
quick enough, yeah. Up and over the jump. Big, nicely controlled slides by our leaders. And now Bobby Sack, I think that's starting to come in a little bit because he's cleared TJ.
He's going to have to do it pretty quickly because we either got 2 or 3, no more than 3.
Yeah, you can see Bobby now has opened that up just a little bit.
Stay off those curbs.
And, of course, part of that was TJ just overrunning the entry to the keyhole a smidge when Ayers got up inside the right side of his car for just a minute, and that cost him some momentum as well. Let's see here.
Looks really strong.
Yeah, he does. Just turned to 35.931.
And Cliff White, not close enough behind him to mount a charge right now.
Yeah.
We'll
But
see
I
what
really
they say on time.
I think Cliff is dealing with a bit of overheating, and so when he gets close,
Fair amount of tire squeals. These
Yeah.
guys really pushing the limits.
Bobby that lap turning a 36.5, Acker a 36.6. 5 minutes, 45 seconds to go. And
I'm afraid it's going to end just like it started with 2 guys,
so,
black and white.
all right, well, we've got, that's a good point. In the hat, it shows 3 minutes to go. That's the crawl across the top of the screen. If you've been looking at that, the time on the scoring monitor is a little bit different, so we'll just go with whenever we see a flag is pretty much how that's going to go. And it looks like TJ has run Bobby down. Ooh, Bobby really pounding that curb.
And that doesn't do you. Not all the curbs here are advantageous. Some of them are. A lot of them, though, spit you out into the middle of the racetrack and you lose momentum.
So now, can TJ get around Bobby? That's the question, because this is pretty much mano-a-mano up front now for the gold, and it's also the same for the bronze, but that gap awful large at this stage between Cliff White and Bobby. Yeah.
Good run off of the carousel. He's not going to do anything into one. That's smart. Maybe he can set up a run out of one.
And we're getting confirmation it'll be white flag next time by. So this lap and one more, Doris.
Watch him here. This would be a good place to make a pop.
And Cliff instead makes the pop. And
oh, that's an interesting move now. We'll see what that does to the overall effect of things.
Yeah. And
Cliff goes to the front.
And I thought that was a smart reaction by John Black. He opened it up a little bit, then diamonded it, and jumped on the throttle early.
He might have already made up his mind. He doesn't want to lead the last lap, and I totally agree with that. Here comes the pass for third. An early pop back there. You can't see the other car yet, but he should be up there as a 62, not quite alongside.
No, Bobby defended just in case.
Sack holds that. He's not out of the...
Wow. John Black is really opening up the entrances to the corners, and I think he got a great run down to the bottom through 6 as a result, didn't he?
He gave that position up. He did not want to be leading the last lap. And you know what's going to happen when they get on the straightaway.
Yep.
Oh, Bobby with a big oversteer early in the corner. Good save. Had quick hands.
Well, assuming that White ends up somewhere on the podium and Hayward interviews him, I'm really interested to hear if he had some temp issues. As you can see, that radiator opening definitely closed up a bit.
Oh, and Black doing exactly what he needs to. He's going to have to be really up underneath the back of that car. He's waiting for the keyhole. He's waiting to get that run down the back straightaway. White flag is out.
And like I said, for John Black, it has been a long time since a gold medal in Spec Racer.
And look at Black. He's tucked up into there. And he's off. He's off. 4 wheels off the outside. Now Bobby Sack maybe has a run. He'll drag the 62 with him. And 62
but here comes TJ.
TJ up the inside of Sack.
Oh.
And he's alongside. Can he hold it? Not yet.
Now, does John Black have enough? He was able to make up some ground once Cliff White got that pass made.
White's got this one right now. I don't think Black can make that much ground up. He's in trouble for third. He might be shuffled back to third. Bobby Sack with the run now. Black is defending.
Yep. Bobby's thinking about it, not quite clear. And here comes Troy Ayers on TJ.
On PJ. Yeah.
Some good stuff. Cliff White's got enough margin unless I think he makes a mistake.
Sack running out of time. There's not many more opportunities to get alongside. One's in turn 9.
Yep. He's got to be closer than he is now. Here comes White up and over the first part of madness. Here we go, heading into the jump turn.
Who wants this the worst?
John, a little slide there. He's done a nice job after dirtying those tires up. John Black has to keep speed alive.
Yeah, he was clearly off.
Oh, way off. All right, here we go. Turn 11, heading into the carousel. Spec Racer Ford 3 in only its second year as a national championship. And can multi-Spec Racer Ford champion Cliff White get it done? He's going to. Onto the front straight. Cliff White comes through, gets his 4th Runoffs gold. First in Spec Racer Ford 3. Second will be John Black. And third, Bobby Sack coming through and getting that bronze. And he had pressure from TJ Acker and Troy Ayers. Absolutely tremendous drive. And for Cliff White, well, he got a little gift, obviously, when John Black ran wide. But what a story, obviously, for the rest of the field here. And for Bobby Sack, that'll be his 2nd bronze medal in Runoffs competition. But Cliff White is delighted.
TJ stepped up to the plate, too. I didn't think he had it in him. I thought that he was going to drop out of that. But when that restart came, he was ready to go.
Yeah, just fantastic. John Black, this is his 6th second place finish at the Runoffs. He's got 5 bronzes and 3 golds, as we've talked about, some of them coming in GT. And for Cliff White, yeah, well, like I said, coming into this year, he's won 3 of the last 4 Spec Racer Ford National Championships. And now, in the 2nd year of Spec Racer Ford 3, he claims a national championship there as well.
And that was no easy feat to do either.
Well, and whenever you see John Black run wide trying to stay with you and bounce off track, you know you're setting a pretty sparkling pace.
He was set there. I was thinking at that point that Bobby Sack might have enough to get by for a 2nd place, but
he was just too far back coming onto that.
That's why you have to stay tight. You know, when little mistakes are made, you have to be there to capitalize on them. Otherwise, it's not going to stay open for long.
Oh boy, wow. What a interesting race. I mean, we had all the incidents, we had the wave-offs at the front, and that's where cooler heads prevail, and cooler heads come from experience.
No doubt about it. I mean, these guys got a lot of miles under their belt behind this chassis.
Oh yeah, he and Black and Bobby Sack, they've been doing this for a while, and it shows. Boy, and Cliff White is pumped, and he's made the transition from Spec Racer Ford to this chassis as well.
Dare I say, these are a little bit more fun to drive than the underpowered variety.
That was a rolling high five. Love to see that as the champion brings that beautiful lavender, purple.
All the above.
Yeah.
More purple.
I'd go with you on that. Up, and of course, he'll stop at the feet of one Hayward Wagner and be able to do an interview. He's unbuckled. He was cheering all the way down the line. Hayward gives him a nice handshake and asks him to peel that helmet off. And, of course, you'll get the Hoosier scarf, neck warmer, gator, whatever you want to call it.
That'd be a Flintstones yabba dabba doo.
It was that. Fantastic. And that helmet comes off. And let's, going to wait a minute. He's going to take the earplugs out and get that Hoosier bandana. That's the fourth thing I referred to it as. And Hayward's ready. Wow, I'll tell you what a story for Cliff White.
Cliff White, welcome back to Victory Lane. The guys upstairs were speculating that you might have been managing some engine temperature during that race.
No, the car ran flawlessly the entire race. It was just fantastic. We struggled all week trying to keep up with John Black, who's had the fastest car out here. We made a couple of tweaks before the race, and it ran flawlessly. It was fantastic.
Talk to me about the last lap.
Oh, you're going to have to give me a minute here.
We can pull the footage off the Verb if you need us to.
We can pull the footage right off the Verb. You know, John Black and I had a really good race. We were pulling away from, and then we caught that full course yellow with the cars over in 9. And with about 2 to go or 5 minutes left, I tried my first attempt on a John, and he had the inside line going into 4. And I didn't make it that time. So I backed off a couple of car lengths, kind of started hitting my marks because my front tires were a little cold. And then, you know, got an excellent run coming out of the carousel. Saw I was gaining, just hit my marks because the track's super slick this afternoon. Smooth through 1 and made the pass going into the keyhole. And I saw that he had put 2 wheels off in the dirt on the exit of 1 trying to keep up. And, dude, I was just, don't screw up. Just don't screw up.
Well, congratulations to you, sir, on another trip here to Victory Lane.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely fantastic. And there you go. It shows what I know about this stuff. I was thinking overheating. He goes, no, car was perfect.
Looked like a happy guy there.
Man, he was delighted, wasn't he?
Absolutely.
And, again, just drove an absolutely superb race. And, again, John Black, he mentioned, he said John has been the guy here in terms of outright speed. And he was able to figure out a way to beat him. And I'm sure Hayward, a little bit of disappointment probably for John with, having the pole and all, but still a medal at the runoffs. Never a bad thing.
John, you were the quickest all week until really the last couple of laps of this race. Is this a disappointment or is there satisfaction in this one?
No, this is pretty much disappointment, unfortunately, not winning that. I wanted it about 13 years ago and thought I could actually back it up from 13 years ago. But, you know, sometimes the race just doesn't work out the way you want it to. And, you know, I really had a good car under me. I just couldn't get it going down the back straight. And on that last lap, I went off and won, and that pretty much sealed the deal for Cliff there.
Well, congratulations to you on a silver here at the Runoffs.
Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Truly a great competitor. And like I mentioned, talking about the numbers he has put together here over the years, I mean, this is essentially his 14th medal in his 30th runoffs. He's been doing it a while.
Oh, yeah. They like I said, they have a lot of miles under these guys' belts.
Yep, and now let's get down and hear from Hayward and Bobby Sack.
99 fourth and 2004 here. So.
Well, in 98, you were on this podium in 3rd. We're back at Mid-Ohio. You're back on the podium in 3rd. How does it feel to be able to back up that performance?
It's pretty awesome, especially after starting 9th. I don't know exactly what happened up front, but I got a nice opening coming through turn 4, I guess, but at the start, and I was able to pass a few cars and hold on after that restart. I almost was able to give John a run for his money for 2nd, but he held on to it. But thanks to Elite Autosport, the car was amazing. Revolution 10 brakes, and my dad and mom, Don and Marty Sack, and my family, my wife Liz and 2 sons, Ben and Ryan. Been a great season. Thanks.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, that was really, I mean, that was a tremendous drive coming from as far back as he was, avoiding all the mayhem and carnage and being able to bring it home. And for Cliff White, boy, like I said, when you're running quick enough that a driver the caliber of John Black floats off the track because he's trying to stay with you, that's a good day. And you can hear he's enjoying every minute of this.
Oh, that's the best lap in the world when you get the pressure's off. Now you realize you just won a national championship as we look at the results here.
Absolutely, and in fifth, Trey Ayers. I think if Trey had been able to get up a little quicker, he'd have been in the mix. Schofield, Russell, Umberto Maletti, Todd Harris, who won the Spec Racer Ford Gold yesterday, right there, and Jeff Beck, as he does, up from deep in the field, cracking the top 10. The guy can get it done when it comes to passing cars.
Well, a good event, no doubt about it. These cars will develop further as this was their first runoff for it.
All right, well, as we're showing you some of the highlights and some of the lowlights from Spec Racer Ford 3, once again, this wraps things up for Dorsey and I here in the booth here. Taking you through for the final 3 races, it's going to be Rick Benjamin and Jeff Lepper with Hayward down in the pits. It has been an absolute delight to be part of this 53rd annual running of SCCA's National Championship Runoffs presented by Garmin Verb. Back here at Mid-Ohio, it has been glorious, and we've been delighted to be a part of it. So for Dorsey, for Hayward, for Rick, and for Jeff at this point, thanks so much for joining us, but stay tuned. 3 national championships yet to go.